think that the media, which everybody's behaving as if they don't have power, the mainstream media, whatever you want to call it, legacy media, they have so much power still that they convinced us that Kamala might win or was going to win. So they do have tons of power, but a lot of people are going, hey, it was all the bro podcasts that Trump went on. If I'm being honest, and it'd be very flattering to think that like, oh yeah, you come on the pod, it's going to change the election. If I'm being honest, I don't think that it really changed that much. I think that Trump was going to win in a landslide no matter what.
No, you're right.
Before we get into the argument that they're going to have, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. This is Andrew Schulz about to, go ham, and he's already breaking it down. I will give him this. This topic, I absolutely love it, and I thought I'd come back to it and talk about it, about why Donald Trump won. Andrew Schulz is on point here. He's being very transparent, too. The media started explaining that Kamala was having a hard time with black people, and then all of a sudden things started going a certain way. So, there's always a narrative. But anyway, guys, we're going to let them go ahead and get into it. This is Andrew Schulz getting ready to, make sure that he puts Charlamagne in place, because Charlamagne, I don't know what point he can make to that, but let's find out together.
You really think that?
Yeah, because
it was so dominant, though. He won every swing state.
Yeah, I've seen. Actually, when you look at it, the election was a lot closer than people think. I think Trump won by like 3 million. He won the popular vote by like 3 million votes or something like that. But the two things we're not factoring in. Donald Trump has been campaigning for almost a decade now, and Donald Trump did something in 2016. That he did something in 2024, he just did it differently. 2016, he tapped into an audience that nobody was fucking with, which is poor white people.
Well, there was one other person fucking with them.
Who?
A gentleman by the name of Bernie Sanders.
Oh yeah. But I would say Bernie was more talking to working class white people in rural areas. Trump was talking to poor white people in rural areas.
Well, I want you to finish your point because I want to bring something else up. But go.
So Trump in 2016 tapped into.
By the way, guys, if you like these videos, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you to every eye that lands on the videos. Let's go.
Or white people in rural areas. Nobody ever spoke directly to them, energized them. I know those people. That's where I come from. Most going to South Carolina. Those are the type of white people I grew up around.
Yeah.
I know what he tapped into. 2024, he took another risk. He rolled the dice on a demographic that people say doesn't vote, which is young males, in particular young white males. And he tapped right into them with the manosphere, and they came out.
Now,
they came out.
I think you're right about this. I want to go back to 2016 because if we try to analyze like what happened or what changed in the Democratic Party, I think it all happens around 2016. I read an interesting article about this. Okay. 2016, Trump taps into, as you said, the poor whites or the working class whites, right? They're not being spoken to. At the same time, some obscure senator from Maine named Bernie Sanders, Vermont, same thing, comes in and he starts tapping into a similar group, let's say. Massive success. Now, not only does he tap into these like disenfranchised workers, he's also getting people in big cities like myself to be very excited about him, because it feels like for the first time in my life, there's a politician who doesn't even want to win. He just wants to help. Like he's almost like reluctantly running. He's like, this is the right thing to do. And he's so genuine and authentic. I'm like, holy shit, I fucking love this guy. Rogan is starting to love him. I think you expressed a lot of
I got put on to him because of Killer Mike.
Because Killer Mike, that's right.
If I'm being honest, Bernie Sanders was actually probably, I mean, don't get me wrong, we were already interviewing politicians on Breakfast Club, but I remember
he was one of the
somebody who worked for Bernie called my phone one day and said, hey, I want you to come host this town hall at the Apollo with Bernie Sanders. I'm like, why? I literally said, why? Why you want me to come host it? I never did no shit like that. And so it was me, Bernie Sanders, Nina Turner, Eric.
We don't need to go down memory lane. They're talking about the people who they tapped. Look, Trump tapped into the Tea Party movement. These people will never say that. They're going to say just the poor white people. No. You go ahead, you look up the Tea Party movement. There's a name involved in that movement that I don't want to say, but I will type. Why do we do this all the time? It's a shame, man, because like YouTube, boy, I don't mess around. So if you want to look this person up, you find out what kind of person he is, what happened to him. Trump tapped into his audience, which was a necessary audience to tap into, whether he meant it, whether he meant to do that or not, there's a group of Americans that felt like they weren't talked to, and Trump was really good at it. The problem is, though, we have a system put in place where even if Trump wants to help those people, he's not the only one making the decisions. He's not. And it's just so unfair because America deserves to be a sovereign nation.
Have wrapped themselves around this oppressive group, these group of oppressive people, and they have to appease whatever their demands are. And now they are beholden to them. They lose the working class, and they're fucking toast. So now they can't push back on any of like the kind of weird things that are happening when the Democratic Party.
And a lot of that shit gets labeled progressive when it's not.
It's just weird.
Bernie's like, I'm not talking about that. Bernie's just like, I'm talking about free healthcare.
Working class people,
Yeah.
free education, free whatever. But in an effort to maintain power, they basically made Bernie's fans radioactive. They stole the election from him, and they completely abandoned the working class. And if you look at what happened this election, you see that come to fruition fully.
I agree with that take, and I'll tell you another thing that I agree with. You know what happened in 2016? The end of the Obama era, bro. See,
it's crazy to even say, bro.
It's the truth. When you have a generational talent like President Barack Obama, who puts the bar up here, nobody can get to that. You know what I'm saying? And so everybody looks inferior.
Not every player's a coach.
That's what I'm saying.
Not every player's a coach.
That's what I'm saying. So I think that Barack set a bar that's so high, and it's almost like unfair to all politicians, not even just Democrats, to all politicians to keep comparing them to Barack Obama. You just got to go find your lane and who you speak to and focus on that. That's why, if you watch the...
So in the meantime, let me just show you this lovely Obama that everybody always, So I'm sorry, I have no respect for Barack Obama. Furthermore, I don't. Well, yeah, I don't care.
Probably failing to plan for the day after what I think was the right thing to do in intervening in Libya.
You sick bum, okay? You're intervening in Libya, and what that means is starting color revolutions to make certain people have their lives ended. You're intervening. Look at this guy in Libya. Has caused so much havoc across not only just Libya, but the Middle East, bro. Okay? So this whole thing about, Obama, he's so up there and you can't touch him. Oh my gosh. And I'm just going to use this clip because I know it's a different clip. But, oh my gosh. And nobody could reach that bar, please. He just spoke a certain way. I'll never take it away from an older black person that they had a black president. It does nothing for me to do that. But Obama, bye.